Matt Jasa here. This is one of the first projects I did on the channel, so let's go ahead and revisit it for Magnifying Glass 2. So I'm starting off on this 28mm solid rod. I'll soak in a lot of heat, create a nice solid band, and begin to push a giant Maria. Marias are a little artistic technique. You push the solid or hollow glass together to create discs. So I've done this once before to quickly make a big lens. It was kind of an experiment. So I'll try it again here on camera, and then I'll have to compare it to the other method to see which one's a little quicker. And it's good to push it while inside of the flame. If you start to push it while it's too cold, you'll stretch that surface layer and it'll begin to get cloudy or opaque. But it can be fixed by just a quick fire polish, heating it back up to molten. And so I chose this large rod for big marbles and lenses. However, after some time with it, I think I might go with a smaller rod, maybe like a 22mm. You have to be extra careful heating up a large diameter rod like this. If you start to heat up an area and you stop and allow it to cool for just a few seconds, it'll begin to crack. So you have to keep working on it or killing it. But that's looking like a pretty good size there, so I'll go ahead and heat up one side and start pulling it apart. In my other video, I melted down a section of rod into a large sphere and then pushed it out to get to this point. And so since that first video took a little bit of prep work, I think this one might be a little quicker. I'll still have to marble this side down flat. I have my Shade 5 face shield on for this project, not just for the large flames, but for the molten glass. Large gathers like this will radiate out tremendous amounts of heat. Here's the ripples left over from the pressing process. So I'm going to give it a quick fire polish here. I'm going to heat the whole surface back up to molten. This will help melt in those ripples, kind of even out that layer. It'll make it nice and smooth. Then a great way to check it is to look at it while you angle it towards one of the lights in your shop. If there's any indentions or ridges, you'll be able to notice them as they'll warp the light. So I'll try the same punty I did in the first video, the off-axis punty. That's where you can attach a punty that's off axis and then start to bend it around towards the middle, and that will bring it back on center without actually being connected to the center. And I'm trying to get this done quick as I don't want that large rod to cool down too much or it will begin to crack. Normally cracks aren't too problematic, but for a large section of glass like this, as you melt those cracks down, they're going to start trapping air, which will create little bubbles in your work. And now with the rod off, I'll go ahead and melt in that side, which will be the lens of the magnifying glass. So this would be the biggest lens I've done so far. It's taken me quite a while to melt it in here. I'm also losing some stability in my punty. I'm going to just go ahead and move it out of the way and punt up to the back instead. Sometimes things don't go exactly as planned. You have to adjust your process or change up your technique depending on the situation or just how the piece is turning out in general. So it's good to be able to think on your feet, be able to adapt, get things back on center. And speaking of that, this lens is a little bit off, so I'm going to heat up the punty where it's connected. Then I'll very carefully hold it in the right position for gravity to tilt it back in place. And with that one fell swoop, it is back on center. And I know I make it look a little easy. It does take a bit of practice, but also I am pretty well coordinated. Many years of competitive gaming, a few years of music. I also like to build things from time to time. It's good to invest in different activities like that and pick up different skills, as they can have a synergetic effect on the other things you want to do later in life. And so I'll go ahead and zoom in here for a nice beautiful glass shot. Looks very shiny, very smooth. Now I have a little bit of an edge around the center of the lens. I had that problem in the first video, so I'm going to try to get this one a little bit better. Trying to find the right angle here, and I'm just going to give it a lot of heat and a lot of time. Lampworking is a very time-consuming process. It not only takes time to heat up the glass, but for it to move around with gravity. So you really have to be patient with it and take your time. But overall it is pretty fun. Bit of a therapeutic experience. Spending time just sitting behind the torch, rotating the glass, kind of watching it melt slowly. It's very relaxing. Alright, that's looking pretty good right there. Let's go ahead and switch over to the handle. So I wasn't sure if I wanted to do the same type of spiral handle as I did the last one, or try something a little different. So either way, I'll go ahead and start heating up this middle part of the rod and bending it upward. Be a little different. I was thinking I would have it connect at two separate spots on the lens instead of just one. I still haven't decided if I want to twist it up or not. That can be the hard problem sometimes. You run into a kind of writer's block and you don't know which way to go forward. There's just so many possibilities to choose from. But now that I have this bent up, I'm going to make sure to look at it from every angle, and then I'll remove a little bit more glass off these two rods. The next step would be to attach the handle onto the lens. This is going to be a slightly difficult attachment. I'm going to heat up two spots on the lens and both rods at the same time. I'll attach the first rod in the flame and then swing around the other rod and get that one in the flame also. It's good to attach it really hot in the flame, that way you don't trap any air. But I'm going to heat up both of these connections to molten until they both flow together as one solid piece of glass. So with that first one melted in, it's going to act as what's called a bridge, which will hold the handle in place to allow me to fully melt the second one without worrying about a loss of stability in the handle. I'll discuss bridging more in a future episode, but for right now I want to make sure these handle connections are really melted in well. Now I'm just going to go ahead and remove my punty here. Going to have to try to remove that punty mark there. That's why I was trying the off-axis punty, because I could have avoided this step. A quick flame polish for those marver marks, and then into the kiln it goes. Magnifying glass complete. Well, it's looking pretty cool. I like that handle connection. It's very balanced, very natural looking. Now for the important test, the magnification. It's looking pretty good, a very wide view. The optics aren't too bad. There's probably a couple spots here that could be corrected, but I could always throw it under the flame later and fix it up. And for my last test, I will attempt to harness the power of the sun. Oh, I see some smoke coming up. Wow, that started burning a lot quicker than I thought it would. Okay, I want to see how fast I can get it going here. And start. Smoke already? That was like a couple seconds. smoke is getting pretty thick too. I don't see a flame going. And now I'm pretty sure this is combustion here, but I think we might need a more definitive test. Something with some more obvious results. Like an explosion. Oh, I really love doing explosions. I think that might be the 7th explosive video so far. But I think that'll do for now. I want to thank you for watching and let you know I'm glad to have you part of this adventure. Exploring different projects and finding out everything that can be done with glass. I'm excited to see what's in store for the future of the channel. So thanks again, and remember to stay focused.